Now we are going to have a language acceptor for 0 raised to n, 1 raised to n, where n greater than or equal to 1. That means the language accepted is either 0, 1 or 0, 0, 1, 1 or 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, etc. That means here initially you have a number of zeros followed by a number of ones, and the number of zeros and number of ones should be the same. That is why 0 raised to n, 0 power n, 1 power n is n number of zeros followed by n number of ones, and the number of zeros and number of ones are same, then that can be accepted. Here see, I am going to have an automaton for a Turing machine for that. Turing machine for this. Here in state q0, now you have a number of states q0, q1, q2, q3 and q4. Initially that will be in state q0, and q0 on accepting 0, what will happen? It will switch to q0 upon reading 0, it will switch to a new state q1. Initially that will be in state q0, and q0 on accepting 0, this 0 is replaced by x, and it will switch to a new state q1, and it is moving right. It is moving right. That means q0, I am going to have a table here. q0 upon reading 0, q0 upon reading 0, 1, x, y and blank symbol. This is blank. q0 on accepting 0, what will happen? q0 accepting 0, it is switching to a new state q1 after replacing that 0 by x. So q0 on 0, that this is delta of q0 on 0 is, it will switch to a new state q1 replacing 0 by x, and it will move right. Okay. Now what does q1 do? q1, what is the use of this q? Once it is in state q, this state q is skipping all the zeros. That means once you are in state q1, it is skipping all the zeros until it happens to see a 1. Okay, that means once it is in state q1 and it is skipping all the zeros, that means it is in state q1 itself. That means q1 on 0, it is staying in the same state q1, replacing that 0 by 0. That means it is going to do anything, and it is keeping it as such, and it is moving right. Okay, that means q1 on 0, q1 0 right means it is skipping all the zeros until it finds a 1. Until it finds a 1 means when it is reaching here, it will be in state q1 and it sees a 1. When it sees a 1, what it does is, it is replacing that 1 with y. It is replacing this 1 with y after changing the current state to q2, and this the use of q2 is to move to left. That means in state q0, if there is a 0, after replacing that 0 by x, it moves right. For moving right, it has to switch to a new state q1, and it is skipping all the zeros until it sees a 1, and q1 on 1, what will happen? It is replacing that 1 with y and then moving left. That means q1 on 1, what will happen? It is switching to a state q2, and this this 1 is replaced with y, and it is moving left. That means now this is pointing to this, and now it is in q2. Now it has to find the next 0. It has to find the next 0. So skipping all the zeros, it reaches x. Once it reaches x, the next symbol is 0. That means here there is no way to find the leftmost 0. For that it is scanning and it is searching for the next x. That means it is scanning to the left. That means moving to the left to find an x, and once it reaches this end or once it sees this x, the next symbol is 0. That is sure. And now in state Q2, if there is a 0, what will happen? It is staying in the same state Q2 after replacing that zeros by 0 and moving left. Okay, moving left, and it will move to this place, and once it sees this x, and we have to go to the initial condition. That means initial condition means you have to switch to Q0. That means in Q2 0 left, that means skipping all the zeros. Here if it happens to see an x, then it will switch to Q0 after replacing this x by x and moving right. Okay, that means in state Q2 it is searching, that means it is moving left, searching for an x. If it sees an x, what will happen? It is keeping it as such and moving right. That is why you have Q0 XR. Now it is replacing this. Okay, now this Q2 is searching, and here it happens to see x. Here it is, sees an x, and now it is switching to state Q0. Now it is in state Q0 and the current symbol is x. Q0 on x, what is that? Q1. And after replacing this with x, it is moving right. It is moving right. That means now this is in state Q1. Now after this it is in state Q1. In state Q1 it is skipping all the zeros. It is skipping all the zeros, and skipping all the zeros, it reaches this point. Now it is in Q1. It has to skip y's also. By for 1x you are going to replace this one y. Now the next zero is replaced with x. So next one has to be replaced by y. Next 0 has to be replaced with x. Next one has to be replaced with y. Next 0 has to be replaced with x, and next one has to be replaced with y. Replaced with 1. And in that way, after doing this, all the zeros are converted to x and all the y's are converted to y. And if the input is terminated, then definitely this is as per 0 raised to n, 1 raised to n. Okay, now I have made this as x, and first 0 as x and first one as y, second 0 as x and second one I have to make it as 1. For that, now you are searching for the next one. And here you see a y, you have to skip that also. That means in Q1, if you see a y, then you have to skip that also. Q1 y right. Q1 y right. And when it reaches here, this has to be replaced with y. And once Q1 on 1, it is replaced with y, it is moving left, and now this is in state Q2. Q2 on y. What is Q2 on y? Q2 on y means now you have to search for the x, and after that you have to search for the leftmost 0. For that you are searching for x, and next to that there is a 0. And for that, when you are scanning left, you have to skip y's also. In state Q2. So in state Q2, there is a y, what will happen? You have to have q2y left, q2y left, q2y left, and now in q2, if there is x, q2, if there is x, what will happen? It will switch to state q0 after replacing the 0 by x and moving right, and instead that means moving left, it will come here, and that is in state q2. q2 on x, what will happen? q2 on x, that is q0 x, right? That means, and this is replaced by x, and now this is in state q0. What will happen if q0 on 0, that is q1 x, right? q1 x, right, means we are going to replace this 0 by x, and now you are moving right. Now you are moving right after switching to state q1. What will happen? In q1, if there is a 0, you have to skip it, and in q1, if there is a 1, again you have to skip. In q1, again y, you have to skip that, and skipping all the zeros and ones, zeros and y's, you reach here. Now this is in state q1, and q1 on 1, what will happen? q1 on input 1 is q2y left. You have to switch to a new state q2 after replacing this with y, and now you are moving left. Moving left means now you are pointing to this q2. What is q2 on y? q2 on y, q2y left. You have to skip all the y's. And what is q2 on 0? q2 on 0. Zeros also you have to skip. q2 0 left means zeros also you have to skip. Now what is q2 on x? When reaching here, q2 on x is q0 x, right? That means now here it is q0. Now q0 on 0, what will happen? This will switch to a new state q1 after replacing this 0 with x, and it is moving right. It is moving right. q1 what y? What is q1 on y? q1 on y is q1 y right. This is q1 y right. This is q1 y. In q1, going here, and q1 y right means we are reaching this place, and we are going to replace this with y. Again, moving left, you happen to see an x, and once that x is q0 on x, that means this is q2 on x. In q2 on x, what will happen? It will switch to q0. Now q0 on y, q0, and this is y. q0 on y means all your zeros are consumed. You have processed all the zeros. Now there should not be any more ones. So after processing this q0, now instead q0, if there is a y, q0 on y, what will happen? Instead q0, if it is expecting a 0, but if it is y, that means that is the end of zeros, end of the number of all your zeros have been consumed, and now we have to switch to a new state q3, and we are going to replace that with y, and you have to move right. And in state q3 also you have to skip all those y's. That is why you have q3 y right. That means you have to skip all the y's, and in state q3, if you see a blank symbol, that means after q0, here you are switching to q3, you are skipping all these y's, and in state q3, if there is a blank, that can be accepted. That is the accepting state q4, and this is blank. Okay, that means this is the accepting state, and this is the accepting state. and this is the Turing machine, and this is how the processing is done. That means 0 foreign 1 foreign, that means these are all not defined, that means these are error states. That means in state q0 if there is 1, that means it is an error. Q0, in q0 you have x, that's also error. That means these are all not defined, and using this a Turing machine, if you reach one of the final state, that means here the final state is Q4, that string can be, that means 0 foreign 1 foreign can be accepted. This Turing machine can be represented by a transition diagram. Transition diagram of a Turing machine. Transition diagram. Transition diagram of a Turing machine is this one. Q0, Q1, Q2. This is Q3. And this is Q4, let it be Q4. Okay, now Q0. In state Q0, if your input is 0, Q0 on 0, what will happen? It will switch to Q1. That means Q0 upon reading 0, it will switch to a new state Q1. That means Q0 to Q1. After replacing this current input symbol Q0 on 0, what will happen? You are going to replace this 0 by x. You replace this 0 by x. Okay. This is replaced by x. Now, and it is moving right means you have a symbol like this, moving right. Now, what is Q0 on y? Q0 on y, what will happen? It will move to a state Q3. That means Q0 on y. This is the symbol y, and we are going to replace this y with what? That means Q0 on y, it will move to a new state Q3 after replacing this y with y and moving right. That means y is replaced with y and it is again moving right. Moving right. Okay. That is, those are the states for Q0 or transitions for Q0. And what about Q1? Q1 you have three states. Q1 upon reading 0, what will happen? It will switch to Q1. That means upon 0 it is moving to Q1. Upon reading 0 it is staying in the same state Q1. After replacing 0 by 0, and it is moving right. It is again moving right. What is Q1 on 1? In Q1, if the input symbol is 1, what will happen? Suppose that the input is 1. We are going to replace that by 1, and it will move to a new state Q2. It will move to a new state Q2. That is Q1 upon receiving Q1 upon receiving 1, it is switching to state Q2. That means 1 bar, and it is going to replace this 1 with y. 1 with y, and again it is moving right. It is moving left. It is not moving right. That means Q2 y left means it is moving left. Now, what about y? If Q1 on y, it is staying in the same state Q1, there is no replacement and is moving right. That means Q1 to Q1. Here you have the input symbol y. It is going to replace that with y, and it is moving right. Now, what about, that means Q1 has 3 outgoing states. Now, what about Q2? What about Q2? Q2, if it is accepting 0, it is moving left. That means Q2 accepting 0, it is staying in the same state 0. After replacing that with 0, and it is moving left. That means Q2 on 0, it is staying in the same state. So replace this 0 with 0, and it is moving left. Now, what about Q2 on X? In Q2, X means it will switch to Q0. That means if in state Q2, if the next input symbol is X, it will switch to Q0. That means Q0 upon receiving what? Q2 upon receiving X. It is not replacing that, it is replacing X by X, is moving right. Okay. Now what about Q2 on Y? Q2 on Y is saying the same state Q2 and replacing Y with Y, and it is moving left. It is moving left. Now what about Q3? What about Q3? In state Q3, you have, if the input symbol is Y, it is staying in the same state. That means Y is replaced with Y and it is moving right. Y with Y and it is moving right. It is staying in the same state. And in state Q3, if the blank symbol, if you have a blank symbol, if blank symbol, you are going to replace that with blank symbol and it is moving right. And as Q4 is the final state, you can accept it. This is the transition diagram of a Turing machine. This is the pictorial representation of the Turing machine, and these are all about transition diagram of Turing machine. With that, I am concluding this session, and this is a very important topic, Turing machine. It's a mathematical model of a computer, and the next class we will discuss um, the applications of Turing machine and various techniques for Turing machine construction. Okay, thank you.